Hi, thanks for coming on. Andy speaking. Friday, 10th of February. Just coming up 6:30. Looking ahead to games, Scotland and England and National Leagues. We'll start with Scotland this week. There's the cup in Scotland, so it's not a great coupon. I'm only having one bet in Scotland, but we'll go through the games. Championship, Morton Queen's Park, 36-24, 40. There's a bit in Queen's Park. I was going to back Queen's Park. They were bigger than this 8-5, and I was going to back them, but that price has gone now, sadly. So we've missed out there. I don't think they'll lose this game. They're decent, Queen's Park. They've certainly surprised me this season. This lot are as unpredictable as ever. Again, it's how you see it, but as I say, Queen's Park, as far as I was concerned, was going to be a member's bet, but not with 0.1 at 40%. It's not enough. Dundee Cove, 69-19-12. Nothing of interest here. Dundee far too short. Yes, they're by far the most likeliest winners. Cove did win at Partick last week, and I don't fully trust Dundee, but I still think they'll probably win. League One, Airdrie Dunfermline, 36-25-39. Real tight game to assess. I think Dunfermline will probably just scrape it, but the values with Airdrie, 0.25 at 36%. It's not enough for me. It's how you see it. Right, League Two, Albion East Fife, 38-26, 36. Odds on Albion, incredible. I don't care whether they win. Albion Rovers at odds on is just never. It's just incredible to see that they're odds on. I mean, unless somebody knows something, unless, I don't know, East Fife are playing with 6 players or something, and the rest sort of teenagers. I don't know. I've not found anything out, but you take odds on about Albion Rovers, not just this match, but any time you need your head seen to. There's a point in East Fife. They're decent on the road. Their only defeats have come against the top 3. I think they should be 7-4. They're 11-4. Dumbarton Annan, 48-24-28. You can make a case for both. There's 0.2 in Dumbarton at 48%. Annan have been going well lately. I don't know what to make of Dumbarton. For outright purposes, obviously they're the team that we want to win it, because Stirling are on their case. Do I think they'll win tomorrow? They're the most likeliest winners on figures. There's a smidge in them as well. Forfar Stenhousemuir, 50-25-25. Again, I was planning on backing Forfar, but not at the price they are, and I think they're going to go off odds on across the board. 11-10, 5-4, I'm interested. Even money, I'm not, because that's what they should be. Stenhousemuir are unpredictable. They're poor on the road. Forfar was a maximum bet for us last week, and that won. It's just nothing in it, sadly. Stranraer Bonnyrigg, 53-24-23. I think Stranraer will win this game. I make them odds on. They are odds on. If they went to even money or 11-10, I would be interested. I've said all season this lot are the worst side in the league, and I think that's proven to be the case. I mean, that is it as far as Scotland's concerned. Best bet. East Fife's got the most value in. Dumbarton. That's it. There's nothing really to get excited about. It's a real tough coupon. Let's move on to England. Right, let's start with the Premier League. I'm having a bet here. Southampton Wolves, 30-25-45. I think Wolves should be 6-5. They're 8-5. I think it's a good bet. Not saying they're going to win. I just think the price in relation is, you have to back it. This lot are awful. The manager has upset everybody at the club. He's upset everybody outside the club. I'm told if they get a tank in tomorrow, he's going to get the chop. Not that I'm an expert at Southampton, but they're fairly local to me, and I know loads of Saints fans and etc. And a lot of fans are hoping they do get beat so he gets a sack. I think they will get beat. I think they're going to go down this season, Southampton. Then Bournemouth and one other. I've said that for a while. 8-5 Wolves. I think it's a decent bet, isn't it? Championship, Cardiff, Middlesbrough 26-24-50. I think Middlesbrough should be evens. They're not. They're 23-20. There's 0.15 in them. You just got to look at where they are. They've gone from, well, I mean, I'm not going to say they were bottom. They were in that sort of bottom cluster of teams. Michael Carrick's come in. They're now third in the table. It always used to frustrate me. I said this to members when I put the bets out earlier, that Michael Carrick was always overlooked for England instead of those favoured two who I've got absolutely zero time for. I'm talking about Gerrard and Lampard, both sacked as managers. And this Carrick never got a look in for England. I think he would have done fantastically well in that midfield. I think the England midfield should have been built around Michael Carrick all those years ago, and it's no surprise to me he's doing fantastically well as a manager. And as like I said to members, if I could get a bet now on Michael Carrick becoming England manager at any time in the future, I would, because I think he'll make an excellent England manager. I think he speaks well, and I just think that he plays his team plays the game the right way, and it's no coincidence that Middlesbrough have gone shooting up the table. I think he's a real top draw manager, Michael Carrick, and if he's not in a top 6 job in, I don't know, the next 3 to 5 years, I would be absolutely amazed. I really would. And people talk about Gerrard, Lampard. This guy's different levels above them two. Believe me, he is. So Wolves and Middlesbrough, those are the bets I'm having in the Premiership and the Championship. And in the Premiership, I thought, there was a couple of other bits and pieces. It's like there's a game tomorrow, isn't there? The West Ham Chelsea game. I looked at that. I spent ages on that. I couldn't fathom a winner. I couldn't fathom if there's going to be any goals. I thought it was a really, really tough game to assess. The Merseyside derby, Liverpool-Everton. I certainly wouldn't touch Liverpool at all at the moment. I think they'll probably win, but I wouldn't want to touch them. Tough nut to crack, Everton will be under Sean Dyche, little doubt about that. And I just thought there was they were a couple of sort of, if you play the under 2.5 goals, I think West Ham, Chelsea, Liverpool, Everton. I don't think there'll be many goals in either of those two games, because as I say, I looked at both of them and I couldn't. Who's going to score Liverpool's goals? Who's going to score Everton's goals? The same feeling was with Chelsea and West Ham. Really, I think they're going to be ball fests, both of them. I hope I'm wrong, because they're both live on TV. Not that I really watch much Premiership football, but let's move on down to League One. Barnsley Cambridge 62-25-13. Barnsley 8-13. They are 8-15. I can't see anything here other than a Barnsley win. They've played teams in the bottom third, 17th or below. They've played 6 games, 6 teams, won them all. They've scored 2 goals or more in every game, bar one. I don't see Cambridge. Cambridge's away record to the top 10. They've won 1. They won 3-2 at Wycombe. I don't think Wycombe are a top 10 side anyway, but anyway, that's by the by. But their record on the road to teams in the top 10, they've won 1 and lost 6. I can only see one winner here. There's just nothing in the price. Burton Exeter, real tough one to call this, as you can tell by my figures. I mean, Burton have been good enough to beat Oxford Lincoln here. They've drawn with Plymouth, Derby, drawn with Charlton. That's home form worthy of a decent figure. Exeter, they're in 11th. Away to teams in the bottom half of the table, they've been pretty good. They've won 4, drawn 3, lost 1. So only got 1 defeat on the road to teams in that bottom section. There's a smidge in Exeter, 0.13 at 38% is no interest to me. Charlton Fleetwood 50-24-26. Charlton odds on with the bookmakers. It's not an odds on bet for me. If Fleetwood were 6th, yes, it would be an odds on bet, but Fleetwood are 17th, and Charlton only seem to perform against teams in the top half. Against teams below them, they've won 1, drawn 3, lost 3. There's nothing in the game anyway. Cheltenham Accrington 55-24-21. I couldn't believe when I went through this. Cheltenham are odds on, but I've got them odds on, and they deserve to be odds on, and I'll tell you why. At home, they've beaten Bolton, who are 5th, Wickham and Shrewsbury, who are 8th and 9th. They've drawn with Port Vale, MK Dons. They've beaten Morecambe and Cambridge, the teams below them. They're 18th in the table, Cheltenham. But as I say, I've just read out that home form. Bolton, Wickham, Shrewsbury, all in the top 9. Accrington on the road, they've won 3, all 1-0. I think they should be 4-1. They're 5-2. There's 0.3 in Cheltenham at 55%. It's how you see it. Ipswich Sheffield Wednesday 38-24-38. I can't split them. When I first looked at this game earlier in the week, I thought I came up with these figures, and I went over it again, and I still can't split them. I don't like Ipswich. Why don't I like Ipswich? They always let you down. They go off far too short. I don't think I've bet them once this season. I may have done, I don't know. But I'll give you their record against the top 6, home and away. This is top 6, home and away. They've won 1, drawn 4, lost 1. They're 1-4-1 home and away. And when they beat Derby 1-0, I don't think Derby were even in the top 6. I don't like Ipswich. They're overbet. They're not as good as they're perceived to be. Whereas I think Wednesday are the real deal. They've not lost in ages, and their 2 away defeats have come against Plymouth, who were flying along in at top of the table, and I think Peterborough at the time were 3rd or 4th when they beat Sheffield Wednesday. They're unbeaten since then. They've won at Bolton. I'm not saying they're going to win this tomorrow. That's not what I'm saying at all. But to find this lot in at 11-10 and these at 5-2 is an absolute insult to Sheffield Wednesday. It really, really is. This lot are overbet, overrated. I'm not going to sit here and say I can only see one winner, because figures tell me otherwise. But if you're thinking about backing a team that's rated 38% at 11-10, when you can back a team here at 55% that's rated 11-10, you need your head seen to. I'm not saying Wednesday will win, but to find nearly a point in them is an insult to them. I think the game will probably be a draw. That's what I think. I think it'll be a draw or Wednesday will win. I don't see Sheffield Wednesday losing this game. But we'll see. It's certainly a really interesting match. Excuse me. Lincoln Bristol Rovers 40-30-30. That is a massively high draw figure for me, and the simple reason is because Lincoln at home have won 2. They've not lost at home, but they've only won 2, and I think they've drawn 11. I think their home record is 2-11-0. You know where to put your money tomorrow. There's not a lot of point discussing the game because it will probably be a draw. I mean, they've drawn at home to the top 3, Sheffield Wednesday, Plymouth and Ipswich. They've drawn at home to the bottom 3, Accrington, Cambridge and Forest Green. It will be a draw. MK Dons Oxford 39-25-36. Real tight game to assess this. Bookmakers see it the same way as me. I wouldn't know where to steer you. If I had to bet the game, it would be MK Dons, only because they've got a 3% higher figure than Oxford. Oxford are 15th, MK are 19th. If I had to bet, as I say, it would be MK Dons. Morecambe Forest Green 48-24-28. I think there's a bit of value in Morecambe, I have to say. Their last 4 home games, they've won the lot, and they put 5 past Bristol Rovers, 5 past Burton. They're in really decent form at home, Morecambe. I think they should be 11-10 for this. Forest Green, they're bottom of the table. They've won once on the road all season. I think Morecambe will win. Simple as that. They're rated to win. There's value in it. Peterborough Bolton 42-25-33. Tough game to assess this. Bolton are 5th. I don't. When I first went through the figures of this game, I was all geared up to back Peterborough. I made them 11-8, and because it was Bolton, it's a name. I thought, yeah, we're going to get a price. Darren Ferguson's back at Peterborough. I think the wheels are back on. I think they'll be top 6. I don't know, but there's just nothing in the price, so I wouldn't back Bolton. 0.1 at 33% doesn't interest me. Plymouth Portsmouth 44-24-32. Again, I think this is a tight game to assess. You have to make Plymouth favourites because they've won every game at home bar one. They've beaten 1st, 3rd, 5th, 6th. They've beaten everybody at home. Portsmouth, though, John Mousinho, I think he's going to get a tune out of them. The one thing that does put me off, he's going to get a tune out of them, is the fact they've not won on the road to anybody above 14th. That would put me off. But half a point at 32% is okay-ish. It's a question of whether you see that's okay or not. Shrewsbury Port Vale. I was tempted with Shrewsbury, as I was Derby. We'll come to that. 45-24-31. I thought they should be 6-5. They're 7-5. They're up to 9th. Shrewsbury. Port Vale are 14th. My concern, it is a concern with Shrewsbury, is they're 9th to teams below them. They've won 6, drawn 1, lost 4. I just didn't like that. Yes, they've won more than half of them, which is perfectly understandable. I just didn't think there was enough in it. I couldn't bring myself to back Shrewsbury, and I thought if I back Shrewsbury, I've got to back Derby, because you can't back a side 0.2 at 45 and not back a side 0.2 at 50. I wouldn't put you off Shrewsbury, and I wouldn't put you off Derby. Port Vale are very in and out. And the other thing with Port Vale, they've won at Plymouth and Derby, who are 2nd and 4th. They've drawn at Barnsley. But then they've lost to MK Dons, Oxford, Bristol Rovers, sort of lower table teams. So you never know what you're going to get with them, and they are capable. And I think that's 11-5, isn't it? That's not 1-5. Wycombe Derby, 8th place, 4th. Again, like I just said to you, if you're going to back Shrewsbury, you've got to back Derby. Wycombe have beaten Ipswich and Peterborough and Portsmouth here from the top part of the table. They've lost at home to Sheffield Wednesday, Plymouth and Shrewsbury. Derby, I think Paul Walner's come in and done an absolutely fantastic job. He really has. The concern with Derby is that they've not beaten a team on the road in the top half of the table. Now, that's probably a bit unfair to Paul Warne because he's not had many goes at it, if at all. I think Derby will probably win the game. I think they are a really decent side, and I think they'll probably be 3rd tomorrow. After this next round of fixtures, they're certainly going to be in the playoffs, and at this rate, you would make them favourites for the playoffs, because I do think barring accidents, I think Sheffield Wednesday and Plymouth are going to be the two that do go up. I do expect Plymouth to fade a little bit, but I think they've got so many points in the bank, and they've played all the teams at home in the top part of the table. I think they'll pick up enough points from those remaining fixtures to go up. I think Wednesday will win the title. That's my opinion. But I think Derby will be the team that wins the playoffs. I could be wrong, but we'll see. There's a long way to go. Let's go on to League 2. Right, League 2, Wimbledon Carlisle, 36-24-40. Carlisle favourites. I think they're the right price, 6-4. Wimbledon. There's a smidge in Wimbledon. They're 13th. They've beaten Orient here and Stockport, who are in the top 7. Wouldn't discount them. Carlisle, I thought they'd win last week. Very strange result. They should win tomorrow. It's no gimme, but I think they should win. Barrow Newport 43-25-32. Barrow down to 10th. Results haven't gone well for them, have they? Newport on 19th. If you look at the form against teams below them, you would be backing Barrow. I'm just mindful of the recent form. It's not the biggest of squads. It's pretty stretched. Newport, there's a bit in Newport. They've won away at Orient, but they've lost at Crawley, Bradford, etc. It's not a game to be betting in. Crawley Crew 55 24 21. As you told me Crawley would be odds on for a game, I would. Well, incredible. Scott Lindsay's come in, completely different feel about the place, and I think if we're going to see the proper Crawley between now and the end of the season, then I got absolutely no doubts that they'll get out of the relegation struggle. If you look at some of the home form, they've beaten Salford, Mansfield, Stockport, Swindon, Barrow, teams in the top 10. Hartlepool won there. I spoke to some people that night, and Crawley were just absolutely awful. But they've had a manager change since then. A proper manager's in there now. Crew are plummeting. I think they're possibly in trouble. Crew. They're not scoring enough goals, and 2 wins on the road at Swindon and Rochdale, who are bottom all season. Crawley odds on. I never expected it, but figures don't lie. Grimsby Colchester 44 25 31. Grimsby 16th. They've started picking up a few games at home. To be fair to them, the 3 games they've played at home to teams in the bottom half of the table, they've won 2, drawn the other one. Colchester are up to 17th, but they've won 4 times on the road, Colchester, at teams 20th and below. And I don't know, Grimsby, should they be that short? Probably not. Tough game to assess. I would bet Colchester, though, if I had to make a bet. Is 0.55 at 31 is okay. Harrogate Stockport 25 25 50. Stockport odds on for this, not for me. Not saying they won't win, just don't think the price is right. Harrogate have beaten Mansfield, Swindon here, drawn with Stevenage and Carlisle. That's rock solid home form. Stockport, what have they? They've won 5 on the road, haven't they? And they've lost 7, drawn a couple as well. So, do you make them odds on with form like that? I don't. As I say, they are the most likeliest winners. I just don't think they warrant being odds on, and that they are a team of that similar sort of make-up to Ipswich, and by that I mean they're over bet every week. Hartlepool Sutton 29 24 47. Nothing in the game. How do I see it? I think we'll struggle tomorrow. I really do. Hopefully we won't. I wouldn't have a bet in the game at all. Absolutely no way. Mansfield Gillingham 48 24 28. 4-5 Mansfield. Absolutely not in a month of Sundays should they be 4-5 for this game of football. Yes, they're the most likeliest winners. That's not what I'm saying. The last time they won back-to-back home matches, I think was August or something. I've not got it in front of me. It was a while ago. They're unpredictable. They're a team that we backed along with Northampton to win the title. So I'm disappointed. Gillingham 23rd. They have the recent form's good. They won 3 of the last 4. Obviously, they spent money in January to try to get out of trouble, and they're going in the right direction. I'm not saying they're going to win this tomorrow, but you know what the rule is. If it's in the 20% and there's over a point in it, then you have to back it. They should be 5-2. They're 7-2. I'm not saying they're going to win, and that is something that people still don't grasp. When you make a bet, you're not making a bet because you're thinking that A is going to beat B. You only back A to beat B if there's value in the price. I think Mansfield will probably win this game. Do I want to back them? No. Do I think Gillingham will win? Probably not. But because I'm getting 7-2, about a 5-2 shot, I would be prepared to make that bet. It's not about looking for winners. Winners find themselves. It's all about finding value. Rochdale, Northampton, 26-24, 50. 0.1 in Northampton. They were a reliable stick on the road, weren't they? They did ought to win this tomorrow. Rochdale bottom. They've not lost to a... I mean, they've lost one game to teams in the bottom half. Northampton, that was 1-0 at Walsall. I don't see them losing tomorrow. I think they'll probably win. 0.1. Would I back it? Yes, I would if I didn't have much other stuff to back. I do think they'll win. Stevenage, Bradford, 50-25-25. It's half a point in Bradford. They've lost Carlisle, Orient, Barrow, Colchester. Those are their 4 road defeats. They have one at Salford and Mansfield. Stevenage. I was speaking to somebody about this the other day. We were debating this, and he said to me about Stevenage having home games against the bottom clubs, and it's true they have. But I'd just be a bit concerned the fact they've got to go to Carlisle, Northampton, Mansfield, Stockport, Swindon, Barrow, teams in the top half. Anyway, getting to this game, there's half a point in Bradford. It's whether you think that's value. I don't think it is. I don't think Stevenage should be odds on for the game, though. Simple as that, because Bradford are capable. We know they're capable. They've won at Salford and Mansfield. They're certainly capable of getting a result at Stevenage if they turn up. I don't like the manager, you know that. It's how you see it. Swindon, Doncaster, 48-25-27. Again, I think this game's probably priced right. Swindon, I don't know what to make of Swindon anymore. I had high hopes for them. I thought they'd be a playoff side, or pushing for a playoffs, which they are really, aren't they? They're 8th and a point behind Mansfield. But every time they seem to sort of get going, they lose a silly game. 3 defeats here all season: Northampton, Walsall and Crewe. Drawn 5. It's too many, isn't it? Gillingham have drawn here. Second bottom Gillingham. Again, and that's a piece of form, just to add, that gives them half a chance here. Gillingham drawing at Swindon is not too bad form in the context of that game. Mansfield, I think, got a tanking at home to Swindon, didn't they? 5-2 or something. So just bear that in mind. That Gillingham, definitely not 7-2 shots. But anyway, back to this game. Doncaster, they've won at Northampton. That's their best road win. All the others have been towards teams near the bottom. It's not a game I'm interested in. Swindon most likely is winners. Tranmere, Salford. I think there's a bit in Salford. Tranmere have beaten one side at home inside the top 10. That was a 1-0 win over Orient. Salford are up to 5th. They're decent on the road, Salford, particularly against teams in the bottom half of the table. If we go to teams 12th or below, they've won 6, drawn 1, lost 2. They're definitely not 5-2 shots for this tomorrow. And again, I'm not saying they're going to win. There's a 64% chance they won't, but you have to factor this in. I think that's quite a decent value bet. Walsall, Orient, 38-24-38. Massively hard game to get to assess this. I do think Orient are the most likeliest winners, although figures suggest otherwise, but this is my own personal input. But you just don't know what you're going to get from one week to the next. They've just been so up and down of late. I mean, they've lost at Wimbledon and Tranmere, who are 13th and 15th respectively. Walsall are 14th, sandwiched in amongst those. I think a real proper Walsall performance runs Orient close. That's why it's such a tough game to assess. The value's undoubtedly with Orient, and as I just said to you, I think they are the most likeliest of winners. Best bet. Well, there's a point in Gillingham, but it's a low rating. But you are being paid enough to take that chance. Certainly you are. I mean, that's again, 0.87 at 38 is good. I think that's a really good bet. I'm not saying it's going to win. I think Wolves is the best bet in the standout bet in the Premier League. So if I had to live or die by one bet, I think Sheffield Wednesday is the most, 0.87 at 38 is very good, because if you think here we're getting a point on Gillingham at 28, which is excellent, but we're only getting 0.13 less with Sheffield Wednesday for a 10% more chance. So that's probably the best all-round bet of the weekend. But as I say, I'm not saying it's going to win. Let's go on to the National League. Nothing in the National League. A couple of bets in the National League North, one in the South. Boston, Darlington, 24, 26.50. I think Darlington should be evens for this. They got a fantastic record away from home. They've won 8 times away from home, drawn a couple, lost 3. I think it's a really top draw record. They're third in the table, point off the leaders. Boston, third from bottom. I think Boston are in serious danger of going down. They're massively out of form. And they've got to play Fylde, Darlington, Brackley at home, 3 of the top 4. They've won 5 games at home. The best win was against Kidderminster, who are 8th. I think this is a level above that. I think Darlington ought to be winning this. I really, really do. I just think 13-10 is far too big. Kettering, Buxton, 48, 24, 28. Kettering are 18th, Buxton are 17th, but Kettering have got a really decent record at home to teams in the bottom half of the table. Well, outside the top 10. They've lost 3 games here against Kidderminster, Gloucester, Alfreton. They've beaten the leaders Kings Lynn here. To teams 11th or below, they've won 5, drawn 3. That's a really, really solid home form. Kettering, they've got some really tough games to come. They've got to play 6 of the top 7 at home. So they'll be desperately after points. And Buxton. Buxton on the road, they've won 4 games this season. Gloucester, Spennymoor, Southport, Blyth. They've been turned over at Boston, Farsley, drawn at Telford, Hereford, Curzon. They've lost. I just think Kettering should be 11-10. They're 13-10. There's 0.2 in it. It's not a great week in the National League, I have to say. But I do think Darlington and Kettering, there's a bit of value in them, and I'm backing both of them. National League South finally then, Worthing St Albans, 47, 25, 28. Back St Albans the other night, I cannot believe they got turned over 3-0 at Hungerford. Absolutely shocking result. Because prior to that, teams 10th or below, they had won, I think, 8 from 9 and drawn the other one. Been fantastic. We've backed them so many times away on the road this season, St Albans, to teams in that sort of the bottom half of the table, and they've delivered every time. But they were turned over at Hungerford the other night. To teams on the road in the top 9, they've drawn 1, lost 4. Worthing are 5th. I think St Albans will get turned over tomorrow. Worthing are 5th. Worthing have beaten Dartford here. Oxford City, they won at Havant 5-1. They're a decent side, Worthing. They're 5th. St Albans are 6th. They're 4 points behind Worthing, St Albans. Worthing will want to win this. They could overtake Havant and go 3rd tomorrow if they win this. And I'm going to Havant Chelmsford tomorrow. I don't have high hopes, I have to say. I just think the wheels will come off, and I just think that we're seeing the level at Havant are at the moment. If you look at them, I shouldn't be talking about Havant, but I just will anyway. Against the top 5 at home, they've lost 4. That's a concern. Lost away at Ebbsfleet. Did win 2-1 away at Dartford. I just think that they're finding their level. I thought they would be a playoff team at best this season, haven't, and I think that's still going to be the case, sadly. Because we're not going to catch Dartford. We got 2 games in hand. I don't think it matters. We're not good enough, and I think Oxford City or Worthing will overtake Havant too. As sad as it is to say, we got tough games. We got Oxford City, Worthing, St Albans away to come as well, which is not easy. But anyway, back to this game. I just think Worthing, there's a bit of value in Worthing. I think they should be 11-10. They're 11-8, and St Albans should be a chunk bigger than the 13-8 on offer. They've not been decent, as I say, on the road against teams towards the top. That's it. Best bets in National Leagues would be Darlington. 50%, you're getting 0.3. It's the highest rated and the highest value, so that's the best bet in the National Leagues. That's it, guys. Fingers crossed we're lucky, and be back next time. That's it. Bye for now.